Hey, what's up guys? My name is Mathras. I am host of Diggletdreams, and this is a video going out to Delta Battle League head coaches. We recently had to vote on whether Greninja X and Y and Landorus Incarnate should be allowed in the Season 2 of the Delta Battle League, and somehow Landorus was allowed. So this is my video trying to appeal to logic and reason about why Landorus should not be allowed in the Delta Battle League Season 2. I don't care about Greninja X and Y sets. Greninja X and Y sets was fine in OU when X and Y was out. ORS is what broke it. I understand that. Greninja is fine. Landorus, though, on the other hand, is a completely different story. So let me let's just go about this step by step. These are many different sets that could be run on Landorus. Also just trying to display all the different moves that it gets. Special moves. Let's look at its stats actually first. Offensive stats, 125, 115. Attack and special attack respectively. That's really powerful. Combined with 101 speed and honestly not bad bulk for an offensive Pokemon. This thing is a threat. So look at all these special moves that it gets. Earth Power, Sludge Wave, Focus Blast, Psychic. Every single one of these moves gets boosted by Sheer Force and Life Orb, and Landorus doesn't have to take any recoil at all. And the cool thing about running a special attacking set is that even without investment in attack, you can still run any of these physical moves and still get a lot of usage out of them. Mainly Knockoff and Rock Slide. These are the two biggest physical moves that you can run even on a specially offensive set and still put in work with them. Because a lot of counters to a lot of Landorus' special moves are like Psychic types, Ghost types, things that are flying types actually too, flying types and Psychic types, things that are hit by Knockoff and Rock Slide. And even without attack investment, with a base 125 attack, which is one of the highest base attacks probably in the tier without being a Mega, is pretty crazy. Let's go over some other things that it can do. It can Calm Mind. It can just Calm Mind up. It can Rock Polish. It can outspeed your entire team. Doesn't matter if you're Scarfed. Doesn't matter if you're higher than base 101. Times 2 101 is not going to be outsped by much. Here's the other thing I wanted to do. Let's go through the tier, the OU tier. See things that outspeed Landorus. So Landorus has a base 101. So anything with base 102 or higher outspeeds Landorus. For example, Alakazam, the first one right here. 120 speed. That outspeeds Landorus. Isn't that nice? Alakazam needs a safe switch in though. Alakazam can't switch in safely to a Landorus. It'll die to a Knockoff. It'll die to probably or be close to dying to an Earth Power or a Sludge Wave. What else? Celebi is not outspeeding it. Neither of the Charizards are outspeeding it. Diancie outspeeds it, but Diancie dies to an Earth Power. Garchomp outspeeds it, but Garchomp will die to HP Ice. It'll take a lot of damage from an Earth Power. It'll take a lot of damage from Focus Blast, all that kind of stuff. Psychic. Gardevoir doesn't outspeed it. Gengar outspeeds it, but Gengar dies to a Psychic, dies to a Knockoff. Let's see, what else outspeeds it? Jirachi does not outspeed it. Keldeo outspeeds it, but Keldeo's not going to take a Psychic, not going to take a Sludge Wave, not going to take an Earth Power. Any of those moves. Klefki does have Prankster, but can't paralyze it with Thunder Wave. The Lotties both outspeed it, but the Lotties both died to Knockoff. Manaphy does not outspeed it. Manectric outspeeds it, but Manectric dies to an Earth Power. Metagross outspeeds it, but Metagross is not going to be taking an Earth Power. Mew does not outspeed it. Raikou does outspeed it, but is going to die to an Earth Power. Serperior outspeeds it. Serperior's not going to be taking a Sludge Wave for any amount of money. Starmie outspeeds it, but Starmie's not going to be taking a Knockoff. Talonflame does have a priority on it, but Talonflame comes in on a Rock Slide. Game over. Thundurus also outspeeds, but it dies to things like Rock Slide, Sludge Wave, stuff like that. And honestly, what is Thundurus even going to do to a Landorus? HP Ice, I guess. Yeah, they do run HP Ice, but like not going to be coming in on a safe switch really. Tornadus Therian does outspeed, but also gets hit by Rock Slide. Weavile outspeeds, but as we all know, Weavile has base 85 special defense, 65 defense. It's not really going to be taking anything, especially not a Focus Blast. So yeah, that's the things that outspeed it, that are all hit really hard or completely OHKO'd by one of its moves. Things that can take a hit, Chansey. But you know what's unfortunate? Chansey relies on its Eviolite a lot of times, and it's not going to enjoy taking a knockoff from this thing. It can definitely take hits from it, but it's not going to take a knockoff very well. It's also going to not enjoy not having its Eviolite. Clefable goes down to Sludge Wave, Ferrothorn. Yeah, I guess it can take 2 Earth Powers, maybe. Heatran dies to an Earth Power. Hippowdon, not really enjoying taking an Earth Power, but the cool thing is Landorus can also get Grass Knot, so there's that. Anything else? Landorus can take a hit besides HP Ice, but Landorus does sometimes run HP Ice, so there's that. What else? Anything else? Mew can take a hit, pretty much any hit but knockoff, but of course Landorus does get knockoff. Sableye, I guess, can take a hit or two, maybe. Slowbro can take physical hits, but can't take special hits. Sylveon doesn't take Sludge Waves. Tyranitar dies to an Earth Power, Focus Blast. Venusaur goes down to a Psychic. Zapdos goes down to a Rock Slide. So yeah, that's the OU tier facing up against Landorus. And I know some of you are probably saying, hey, a few of those things can take hits, right? Everybody just needs to run a Chansey or a Ferrothorn to take a hit. So, but the thing about the League format is that when you're building your team, you know what your opponent can bring. The only thing that really kept Landorus from not being banned for so long was that you couldn't run all the moves it needed to cover everything. You have no idea what your opponent's going to bring on the ladder because you just don't. You're just going to be paired up with someone randomly. So you have no idea if the Landorus set that you're using will be useful in that battle or not. But because your opponent has, 10 or 12 Pokemon, depending on what we're drafting, it's very easy to say, I only need Earth Power, Sludge Wave, and Psychic, and I can use Rock Polish on the last set, because that covers everything that my opponent can possibly bring. So basically, what I'm saying is Landorus is really powerful, but it's even more powerful when you can prepare for certain Pokemon. Guys, like I don't know what people's arguments were. Okay, let me go over. I saw the arguments on the voting sheet where that Landorus is weak to Ice Shard and Aqua Jet and other stuff. But honestly, guys, Landorus is not that weak. Choice Banded Brave Bird from a Talonflame does not OHKO Landorus. It's one of the most powerful hits in the game, not OHKO'd. Ice Shard and Aqua Jet, they will put in a lot of work against the Landorus, but the question is, how do you get the opportunity to Ice Shard or Aqua Jet? Say you're having a Azumarill with Aqua Jet. That'll do a lot of damage to Landorus, but how do you switch in an Azumarill into a Landorus when you know it has Sludge Wave? How do you get that free switch without having a Azumarill take a heavy hit, or having to sack something to the Landorus so that you can get a free switch? Weavile has Ice Shard. Ice Shard probably OHKOs Landorus, but how do you get a Weavile in on a Landorus without taking that hit or letting something else take the hit? That's the problem. Landorus can be countered by Scarfers or Priority, but the problem is getting the opportunity to do that. It's as simple as that. How do you switch into a Landorus? Answer that question down below in the comment section. How do you switch into a Landorus? And before you start commenting all this random shit, unless it's OU, then it doesn't count, because it has to be viable in OU for it to count as a counter. Yeah, we're talking about viability here. So maybe a Glaceon can counter a Landorus, even though it really can't, because it can't take a Focus Blast from a Landorus. But just for example, like maybe a Glaceon, you have the perfect Glaceon set that can counter Landorus. Glaceon is not usable. I'll just be completely honest. Glaceon is not going to be useful for really anything when you're battling OU Pokemon. Maybe once in a while it'll do something. Maybe once in a while it'll KO a Landorus. But a PU level Pokemon is not considered viable when facing up against OU Pokemon. So what in the OU tier, maybe even UU, I'll let UU slide if you want to try. What can counter a Landorus? So what is a counter? A counter is something that can take hits reliably, take any hit reliably, and threaten the Landorus with one of its own moves. So what in the OU or even UU tier can take any of these hits from Landorus, can take any Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Knock Off, Rock Slide, Focus Blast, Hidden Power Ice, any of that stuff. What can switch in on any of those hits, take it reliably, and be able to KO the Landorus? That is the question here. Let's look in UU, or we'll look in BL too, I suppose. Crawdon's Aqua Jet is really useful, but Crawdon can't take a hit. Any of these Pokemon take a hit. Maybe Gallade can take a hit. It does have pretty solid special defense. Alright, maybe Mega Gallade can be a counter. Maybe. Maybe Mega Heracross? I don't know how well Heracross is taking hits though. Let's see, any of these. Not really seeing any of these taking a hit very well. Any of these? Any of these? Not seeing any of these really taking the hits. Maybe Megaladios, because Knockoff won't be doing as much. It's possible. Maybe Mega Slowbro, although honestly not Mega Slowbro, because it still only has 80 special defense. Yeah. Let's see what in UU can take a hit from this thing. Any of these Pokemon, any of these Pokemon. Maybe a Blastoise. Maybe a Blastoise set could. I don't know how well it's taking Sludge Waves, Earth Powers, and Focus Blasts though. Blissey could take a hit, definitely. Blissey could definitely take a hit. There's one. Chandelure's not going to take a hit. Chestnut, Cloyster, Balion, Cresselia could maybe take a hit, but it's not going to appreciate a knockoff that well. It'll probably appreciate it a little better than some other psychic types, but still not going to enjoy it. Any of these? Not really. Florges would be nice if it didn't get Sludge Wave. Fortress could maybe take a hit or two. I could probably only take like 2 or 3 Earth Powers though. Gligar could probably take an HP Ice, can it? Actually, I don't know. Gligar's more physically defensive, isn't it? I don't know. Goodra, maybe an Assault Vest Goodra. Yeah. Any of these? Any of these? Maybe Mandibuzz. Although Rock Slide. Rock Slide's probably going to do a solid amount. And like also, Mandibuzz, like the best move it could hit a Landorus with is like Foul Play or Knockoff. Melodic maybe? Nido Queen, no. Earth Power, obviously. Uniclus doesn't want to take a knockoff. Porygon 2 also doesn't want to take a knockoff. Roserade doesn't want to take a Psychic. So you're probably saying like, Landorus doesn't ever run Psychic. I rarely see people run Psychic. But the problem is in this format, this league format, if the opponent sees that you have a Roserade, they'll bring Psychic. specifically for the Roserade, because they know they won't really have anything else to hit it that hard with. That's the problem here. Slow King will take hits besides knockoff. Swampert can take some hits maybe, but wait, Landorus does get Grass Knot. So in this specific format, I'll be honest, I've never seen Landorus run Grass Knot before. But in this league format, if the only counter the opponent has to a Landorus is Swampert, they can really easily just click Grass Knot and use that. Like, that's how easy it is. So basically, considering the OU and UU tier and BL, since some people don't really consider it OU, I don't really know. There's like maybe 5. I'm even being generous. There's like 5 things that can take a hit or 2 from a Landorus. So if we're going to be using Landorus in the Delta Battle League, make sure you get one of those Pokemon so that you can counter this guy. There you go. I'm getting a headache from this. Guys, Landorus is too powerful. That's why it was banned to Ubers. On Smogon, there was a 75% majority to vote to ban it. I don't know how clear that is. Everybody that voted on Landorus has played at least 100 games in OU in the suspect test to vote to ban it. Like, I don't get it. Like, how many of us have done that? I haven't done that. I don't know if any of you have done that. But what qualifies us to vote on this? We have people telling us that they banned it with 75% majority, and somehow we still voted to unban it, even after all of this. It doesn't make any sense to me. And if someone can explain it to me and prove to me that it is not ban-worthy, then we should probably take it up with Smogon. But if you can't convince me of that, then fine. But honestly, I don't see how you could. I don't. So feel free to leave a comment down below suggesting something. I'll be happy to take a look at it and see what you think. But please don't bother posting an RU Pokemon or an NU Pokemon or even a PU Pokemon, because that is really not the same. And honestly, I don't really see what difference it would make. Like, how if no OU Pokemon can take hits from this thing, how can RU Pokemon possibly take a hit from this thing? Okay. There we go. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to ask if you guys enjoyed this video and hit the like button or anything, because like the majority of people watching this are probably Delta Battle League coaches. But if you're not a Delta Battle League coach, then like this probably means nothing to you. Peace out, guys. Keep dreaming.